Welcome back, everyone. World Baseball News for the week of March 6th. The big week is finally here, the one we've waited 6 years for. The biggest event in international baseball begins this week. All 20 teams are ready to go. The first game is less than 40 hours away. In the past week, there were a lot of roster changes. Colombia and Dominican Republic were hit especially hard with some big-name players now unable to play. We'll go over all the roster changes in a little bit, but first let's look at this week's WBC schedule. It all starts this Wednesday with Pool A being the first group to hit the field. Netherlands and Cuba will square off in the first game of the 2023 World Baseball Classic at noon local time. That could very well be the championship game. Many are picking those two to finish 1 and 2. Cuba has named Yariel Rodriguez as the starting pitcher for that game. A bit of a surprise because he was converted to a reliever last year with the Chunichi Dragons. He was good as a starter, posting a .365 ERA in 12 starts in 2021, but he had an amazing first season in the bullpen last year, with a .115 ERA in 56 relief appearances. The home team takes the field at 7 in the evening, taking on Panama. Mariano Rivera will be out there to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. The following day, Netherlands and Panama will meet. The last time these two met was in the very first WBC in 2006. Netherlands won that game 10-0, with 19-year-old Sharon Martins throwing a 7-inning no-hitter. Martins, now 36, is once again playing for Team Netherlands, but we don't know yet if he'll be pitching in that game. Italy's first game is that evening versus Cuba. Friday, Cuba and Panama in the day, Italy and Taiwan at night. Saturday, Panama and Italy in the early game. That'll be the last game for Panama. Netherlands and Taiwan at night. Sunday is the final day. Taiwan meets Cuba in the first game. Netherlands takes on Italy in the last game of play in Pool A. Pool B gets started on Thursday, one day after Pool A gets underway. Australia and Korea will be the first to play. That is a must-win for both teams. The loser of that one is probably out. The winner is probably in. China and Japan will meet at 7 p.m. in the evening game. Day 2, Friday, the Czech Republic, known here as Qualifier Team, makes their WBC debut versus China at noon. The big one is in the evening, Japan versus Korea. First place in Pool B will probably be decided in that match. Saturday, China versus Australia during the day. Japan versus Czech Republic at night. Sunday, the Czechs meet the Koreans in the early game. Japan plays its final game of the opening round at night, taking on Australia. Monday, the last day for Pool B. Australia versus the Czech Republic, and Korea versus China. If you're in North America, here are the Eastern start times. The first game between Korea and Australia starts at 10 p.m. on Wednesday night. The late games in Tokyo will start at 5 a.m. on the East Coast. Notice that game times will be an hour later at the end of the week, as the clocks go forward out there. Nothing official yet, but it looks like the starting pitchers for Japan will be Shohei Ohtani versus China, Yu Darvish versus Korea, Roki Sasaki versus the Czech Republic. He made headlines this weekend. He threw a fastball at 102.5 miles an hour during a practice game versus the Chunichi Dragons. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto versus Australia. That's what they keep saying in Japanese media anyway. Those 4 starting pitchers in order. Pool C will get started on Saturday, March 11th with Mexico and Colombia. Mexico will have the team's ace, Julio Arias, on the mound. For Colombia, we don't know yet. In the evening, Great Britain makes its WBC debut, while USA begins its WBC title defense. On Sunday, Colombia has the day off. Canada will play its first game of the tournament against Great Britain. At night, Mexico versus USA possibly will determine the champion of Pool C. Pool D runs at the same time, starting on Saturday, March 11th. The first game is Nicaragua, in the WBC for the first time, meeting last year's WBC runner-up, Puerto Rico. In the late game, Dominican Republic versus Venezuela. On Sunday, the Dominicans have the day off. Israel gets their tournament started by taking on Nicaragua. Venezuela meets Puerto Rico in the night game. Several roster changes last week. Seiya Suzuki's removal from Japan's roster became official. He was supposed to be the starting right fielder, but he will not participate. In his place, SoftBank Hawks outfielder Taisei Makihara has been added to the roster. A 30-year-old left-handed batter. Last year he played 64 games in the outfield and 64 games in the infield, at second, third, and short. Good at the plate, too. He hit .301, .331, .408. Team Puerto Rico will be without Jose Miranda, the 24-year-old infielder who hit 15 home runs in his rookie season with the Twins last year, had to withdraw due to shoulder soreness. Janeshwy Fargas has been added to the Puerto Rican roster. After making his major league debut in 2021, the 28-year-old outfielder spent the summer of 2022 split between AA and AAA in the Mets system. Miguel Rojas has chosen not to participate for Team Venezuela. Because of an injury to Gavin Lux, Rojas is now in line to be the starting shortstop for the Dodgers, and he wants to spend the next few weeks getting himself ready for opening day. His replacement is Hernan Perez. Perez played in MLB from 2012 to 2021. He spent last year in AAA Gwinnett in the Braves system, and over the winter in the Venezuelan League, putting up good numbers in both leagues. In both summer and winter, he played in all infield and outfield positions. A few players out for the Dominican team. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will miss the WBC. He is out with a sore knee. A 23-year-old Gold Glove winning first baseman with 80 home runs in the last 2 seasons. That is a big loss. His replacement is Heimer Candelario, the league leader in doubles in 2021 with 42. But he's coming off a down year. In 2022, he slashed .217, .272, .361 with 13 home runs and only 19 doubles. And a couple relievers. Right-handed reliever Jose Leclerc had to be taken off the roster due to neck stiffness. Left-handed pitcher Gregory Soto, an all-star reliever for the Detroit Tigers the last 2 years, also will not be pitching for the Dominican team. One replacement is another left-hander, Genesis Cabrera, who had a .463 ERA in 39 relief appearances for the St. Louis Cardinals last year. It was a bad week for Team Colombia. Jose Quintana, the team's ace, a left-handed pitcher with a sub-3 ERA as a full-time Major League starting pitcher last year, announced on Sunday that he will be unable to play in the WBC because of left-side tightness. That one hurts. There's more. On the same day, Tito Polo, an outfielder from the Mexican and Dominican leagues, was removed from the roster due to issues with his U.S. visa. His replacement was announced. That is Reynaldo Rodriguez. That's actually a really good replacement. Last year in the LMB, Rodriguez had a slightly higher OPS than Polo had, with more power but fewer steals. And another left-handed Colombian pitcher, Jose Torres, also had to be removed due to issues with his U.S. visa. His replacement is Julio Vivas, a 29-year-old right-hander who spent last summer with 2 independent league teams, and in Venezuela for the winter. Left-handed pitcher Dylan Farley has been taken off the roster for the Netherlands. He's been replaced by right-hander Arai Franzen. He's a Reds prospect, played at Single A last year with an ERA over 6, as both a starter and a reliever. A couple changes for Mexico. One at catcher. Alejandro Kirk had withdrawn the week before. His replacement was named last week, and that is Alexis Wilson, a catcher in the 2 Mexican leagues, Tigres in the summer and Tomateros in the winter. And a change at pitcher. Wilmer Rios was removed for personal reasons. He was one of the best pitchers in the LMP this winter and just signed with the Cincinnati Reds a few weeks ago. Might have something to do with it. He's been replaced by Manny Barreda. He appeared 3 times for the Baltimore Orioles in 2021, spent the past year in the 2 Mexican leagues. Andy Yerzy, a Diamondbacks prospect who played in Double-A last year, has been taken off the roster for Canada. His replacement is 21-year-old Blue Jays prospect Dasan Brown. He had a .392 on-base percentage at High Single-A Vancouver last summer. Opening day for the NPB season in Japan is just 3 weeks away. Spring training is underway and all the players are out on the field getting ready for the season. And with that, there have been a couple injuries. Fighters outfielder Daiki Asama was diagnosed with a fractured left ankle. He injured it during a spring training game and had surgery to repair it. He probably will not be ready for opening day. J.B. Wendelken, an Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher last year, now with the Baystars, was diagnosed with acute low back pain by the team doctor last week. They're not sure how long he'll be out. And that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.